instant sort of spontaneous decision with some of my MP colleagues, the ones who resigned with me this time last week.
But why you and not them?
They said they thought I could do it, and I thought this might be something that I might think about doing sometime in the future. But because I'd always been discussing with them about what the party was getting wrong, and as ministers, we don't say what we think. We have to take collective responsibility and hold the party line. But behind closed doors, we talk about the things that we disagree with, and we were all of the same mind. But they felt
so Kemi Badenoch, her key policies are cut taxes, rein in spending. She opposes net zero 2050 target. So apparently pro-climate change, pro-global warming. We can assume pro-pollution, pro-trash, and anti-recycle, pro-dirty car. But Kemi Badenoch, she said she wants to change the concept of the net zero 2050 target, while Suella Braverman said that the 2050 date should be moved back. But she's out. Suella Braverman is out, but Kemi Badenoch is still in. She is open to the withdrawal from the Euro Court. She's open to the withdrawal from the Euro Court, which Liz Truss wants to get out of the Euro Court. Kemi Badenoch wants to reduce funding for Mickey Mouse degrees because, those goddamn Mickey Mouse degrees are basically sinking. America, those degrees for happenstance and accreditation. Scrap the online harms bill. Kemi Badenoch wants to scrap the online harms bill. Apparently, the online harms bill is a proposed law based upon a government white paper jointly proposed by the Department for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport and the Home Office. The white paper outlines ambitious plans to make the UK the safest place in the world to go online and the best place to start and grow a digital business. Kemi Badenoch also wants to reduce the amount spent on foreign aid. So there's some stuff about Kemi Badenoch. Now let's take a look at Tom Tugendhat. Oh, Tom Tugendhat. What do you think Tom Tugendhat's going to be about? We'll go to the 6th video. Tom Tugendhat. Hey, that's a nice hat you got there. What kind of hat is it? It's a Tugendhat. There's no such thing as a Tugendhat. There's no such thing as a Tugendhat, you son of a... So here's a little clip of Tom Tugendhat after this short message.
Hello and welcome to Ways to Change the World. I'm Christian Guru Murphy, and this is the podcast in which we talk...
Go into the middle. Is he talking? Oh, he was. Here we go.
Well, I'm not quite sure I'd go with that one, but
Is this the next Prime Minister?
Let's rethink the NHS there, aren't you?
No, I'm just talking generally about state provision in various different ways. I mean, I am...
Do you think we should rethink the NHS? I mean, do you think the NHS is sustainable?
So I think first of all, it's easy to underestimate the importance of the NHS. The NHS is one of the fundamental underpinnings of the British economy to a degree that I don't think is always appreciated. If you are in your 20s, starting a business in the United States is an easy thing to do. Get together, start a business, have a go. If you're in your mid-30s and you've got kids, starting a business in the United States is a riskier thing to do. You're giving up healthcare. You're giving up health insurance. Are you sure you want to do that? That is a hell of a constraint on the insurance model basis of healthcare, which actually hits the economy.
So Tom Tugendhat is pro-universal healthcare. So that's an interesting conservative right-winger. That's just like Boris Johnson. Toeing the line, Mr. Tugendhat, the perceived moderate left in the race, claimed he was merely questioning how best to achieve the 2050 net zero emissions. Asked about his views by reporters on Thursday, he said, "Of course I agree with the target, 2050, so he's okay with 2050. But nobody yet has set out a path to achieving it." Okay, so he's saying, I like the goal, we just don't have the means, we don't have the plan, we don't have the ways. The ways and the means and the plans, and Rishi Sunak, Penny Mordaunt, and Liz Truss all offered clear backing for the 2050 net zero target at Wednesday night's hustings. According to Mr. Skidmore, when Tom Tugendhat was about 20, Tom Tugendhat needed a better understanding of North Africa, so Tom Tugendhat traveled over land from Morocco to Israel, skipping only Libya because They wouldn't let him in much of the journey that Tom Tugendhat did in northern Africa. He did by foot. Why? Why did he walk North Africa? Well, because it's there, he said half-jokingly, an echo of George Mallory's line about climbing Mount Everest. Unlike Mallory, Tom Tugendhat survived the trip. He mastered Arabic in Yemen and worked as a journalist in Lebanon, before turning to soldiery a few years later. How did he turn out to be so right-wing? How did he turn out to be? He's in Yemen. He's in Lebanon. I think his studies was in Arabic studies or something. And here he's terrible when it comes to Palestine. He's terrible when it comes to Saudi Arabia. And he's a Bilderberg grouper. He's a member of the Bilderberg group. He attended the 2022 Bilderberg meeting in Washington, D.C. Oh, Blue Eyes Frank Sinatra. Tom Tugendhat was a participant also at the 2019 Bilderberg Group meeting in Montreux, Switzerland, May 30th to June 2nd, 2019. So 2019, 2022. How many Bilderberg groups has he been to? At least 2 years. He's gone to 2 Bilderberg. These are the elites trying to carve up the rest of the world. So Bilderberg grouper. And then when it comes to Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, he's like, you know what? He's got a great vision for Saudi Arabia. Sees her taking her place as a player in the global economy. It's positive, not just for Saudi Arabia, but for the world. High praises for Saudi Arabia. Goddamn, chill out, Tom Tugendhat. Saudi Arabia is a bunch of piles of shit. The fuck. I don't like what Saudi Arabia is doing in Yemen. He fucking went to Yemen. He shouldn't, be mad about that. Didn't he learn how to fucking play the harp or something in Yemen? What'd he do in Yemen? Come on, somebody tell me. We just talked about it. He mastered Arabic. So he learned Arabic in Yemen. Doesn't he feel a little... There's been over 500,000 people killed in Yemen. It's a goddamn genocide. And it needs to fucking stop. And speaking of shit that needs to stop, the occupation of Palestine needs to stop. But guess what? Not only is Tom Tugendhat a big Bilderberg grouper, and he's big, up Saudi Arabia's ass. He's up Saudi Arabia's ass, but he's, too Zionist. He's a big supporter of Israel. Go ahead, support Israel. He criticized the United Nations Security Council for its official criticism of Israel's building settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. Oh, shit. So Tom Tugendhat thinks it's okay for Israel to steal the land of Palestine. Hey, Israel, that's not your goddamn land. Hey, Tom Tugendhat, that's not the land of Israel. That's the land of Palestine. Two-state solution. Why don't we enforce the two-state solution? What the... Following the December 2019 general election, Tom Tugendhat criticized the anti-Semitism he had faced during the campaign. It was a campaign that wasn't always as clean as previous ones. For the first time, I faced anti-Semitism. I didn't even know he was Jewish, but okay. So, which I found particularly offensive and very surprising for a community like this. Frankly, rather distasteful. It's very un-Tonbridge. It's very un-Kent. It's very un-British. I would hope that type of attitude is going to leave our politics for good. So, Tom Tugendhat, he is Mr. Britannica. Mr. Britannica is okay with Israel stealing Palestinian land. He's okay with Saudi Arabia's right-wing authoritarian fucking public beheadings for, being an atheist and for, being a woman and showing too much ankle and, all the other Khashoggi chopping up journalists for asking, too many questions. And also goddamn 9/11, right? When they're Saudi Arabia, they were the main culprits in terms of states. So it's kind of crazy that he has those positions on Saudi Arabia and Palestine when he's got all of that military background. In 2003, he's part of the intelligence corps. 2005, he's lieutenant. He's captain in 2007. Then he's a major. 2010, he's a territorial army lieutenant colonel. 2013, Tom Tugendhat later served during the Iraq War and the war in Afghanistan. He served in Afghanistan in a civilian capacity for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and helped set up the National Security Council of Afghanistan, the government in the Helmand province. in the Helmand province. Why did you keep on trying to take Helmand? Then he served as one of the military assistants to the chief of the defense staff. So he's terrible. He lost, right? Afghanistan, we lost that war. Tom Tugendhat's voting record. He supported the Remain campaign during the period of the referendum. Later, he voted in favor of the withdrawal agreement negotiated by Theresa May's government on each of the 3 occasions it was put to a vote. His military background also fed into another issue he gave his opinion on when, in the wake of the fall of Kabul in August 2021, Tom Tugendhat described the event in the Times as Britain's biggest foreign policy disaster since Suez. He wants to spend 3% of the GDP on defense, which is the opposite of Rishi. Rishi Sunak wants to keep defense spending, war spending at the exact same levels, but Tom Tugendhat wants to increase defense spending. So that's some, compare and contrast. Different Tom Tugendhat, Tom Rittenhouse, Tom Dugenheim, Jingleheimer Schmidt, Tom Jingleheimer Schmidt, who wears a Tugendhat. He wants to establish an institute of technology in every major town and city. Very nice. That's awesome. That's like the only thing that I'm like, okay, Tom, finally Tom Tugendhat saying something that's, establish an institute of technology in every major town and city. Fucking smart. Keep the Rwanda deportation policy. Shit. You're already racist when it comes to goddamn Israel and Palestine. And, I don't know what's up with your love of Saudi Arabia, but shit, now you're talking about hating the Rwanda people. What did the Rwanda people ever do to you, Tom Tugendhat? Reverse the NI rise? I don't know what the NI rise is. National immigrants, the NI rise. So that's another policy plank to reverse the NI rise. Tom Tugendhat, what the hell is an NI? I don't know what. Okay, so after the poisoning of Sergei and Yulia Skripal and Salisbury by a nerve agent, Tom Tugendhat said the attack was, if not an act of war, certainly a warlike act by the Russian Federation. He's probably right about that. Let's see here. British foreign policy, Brexit, China's growing role, UK's relationship with India, Putin link later, the law firm, unwillingness, evidence, Tugendhat. Let's see. Royal United Services Institute, FCO, greater powers to determine overall foreign policy strategy. So that's Tom Tugendhat. When he was real young, he, learned Arabic. He's walking all across Africa. Seems like a fucking badass, liberal, progressive. But now he's just like so right wing. He's just, I kind of wrote him off pretty quick. He's losing in the polls. There were some numbers. You have Rishi Sunak is number 1 right now. Rishi Sunak is beating everybody, and Liz Truss is number 2. Right? Liz Truss is number 2. No. Penny was number 2. And then this guy was 32. So Rishi Sunak has 101 votes. And then that Penny, Serdant, whatever. Penny, good old Penny, voluptuous Penny has 83 votes. So she's like, up and coming dark horse candidate. Watch out for Penny. Watch out for Gordita Penny. Look at, and then 64-49, I'm not for sure. But I want to say Liz Truss is number third. So Liz Truss was 3rd. And then number 4 and 5 were, Jingleheimer Schmidt. Tom Jingleheimer Schmidt was last place. Penny Mordaunt was in 2nd place. And then you had, Kemi Badenoch, who would have been, I guess, in 4th place, 3rd place, 4th place. Okay, so that's Tom Gutenheimer Schmidt. Now, that's not Gutenheimer Schmidt. Come on, let's this is serious. The future of UK is serious. Tom Tugendhat. Okay, Tom Tugendhat. So, now, last but not least, Penny Mordaunt. Who is this Penny Mordaunt? Well, Penny Mordaunt is, more daunting than beautiful, and she's not worth just a penny. She's worth a nickel or 2, maybe even a dime, maybe even a goddamn quarter. I don't know. Penny Mordaunt. Mordaunt? No, I want less daunt. Are you kidding? No, I don't want. Penny Mordaunt's speech. I'm the candidate Labor fears the most. Labor fears me the most. Labor fears demonstrator ambushes Penny Mordaunt on stage during aid abuse speech. Do I want to watch this? God, I do want to watch this. But that has nothing to do with her policies. We'll wait to the end for that, and we'll just click on the top one, okay?
I'm not going to talk about other candidates. They can set out their stall. But what I would say to you is who can not just win this contest, but win a general election. If we do not win the next general election, all those opportunities and the vision that the British people had from us leaving the European Union will not be realised. We must win that election. I am your best shot at winning that election. I am the candidate that Labour fear the most.
So there's a little Penny Mordaunt. So very beautiful, very voluptuous. When it comes to superficial, I'm like, yes, she looks the part. But does that always have to be? Do you have to look the part? It's policies. All you have to have is a good head on your shoulders. And you have smart policies. So voluptuous Penny Mordaunt is the dark horse candidate. Very, voluptuous, maternal, top heavy, double D's nuts. So she's like Angela Merkel. Angela Merkel is going to be stepping down. The new Merkel. Is Penny Mordaunt going to be the new Angela Merkel for Europe? Can she be the new mother of Europe? Is Penny Mordaunt, is she our new mother? Is she the mother of English-speaking people all over the world? Penny Mordaunt, there's a few policies, but she's not very well defined. She's basically running as a blank slate candidate. But here's a couple of her policies. Penny Mordaunt, she wants 50% cut to the taxes to fuel. She wants to establish a task force to address the paralysis in the NHS. She wants to appoint a cabinet minister with responsibility for family policies. She wants to repeal the 2030 ban on new petrol and diesel cars. She believes in big tent conservatism, so she's not a homophobe. She's not against gay folks. That's a good thing. She's a big tent Tory, wants to bring together all the best parts of the conservative tradition, the individual and the communitarian, the pro-enterprise spirit with a deep compassion and concern for social justice, a global outlook with domestic renewal. It also concentrates on the need to build a team, not just among the party, but with every sector and every part of the United Kingdom, and the need to modernize to deliver. As Penny Mordaunt says, our leadership style must change too. It needs to become a little less on the leader and a lot more about the ship. Penny Mordaunt, a junior trade minister who is briefly the country's first female defense secretary, who in her youth served as a magician's assistant, later appeared on a reality TV show and did a short stint as head of foreign press for George W. Bush's 2000 presidential campaign. Just flicking through Penny Mordaunt's book, she's got a glowing forward by Bill Gates. She's got plenty of praise for China, relentless promotion of the LGBTQ. This is somebody's tweet, so it just gives me a sense. So, relentless promotion of the LGBTQ plus agenda. She wants to ditch the MBE and OBE. She thinks more hate speech should be censored. So, great pitch for the leadership. Great pitch for the leadership of the Labour Party, the guy says sarcastically. So apparently the commentators missed a trick in 2017. They had like a big, they didn't want to launch another SW1 dining club or secret society of ideological brothers, but a shared movement committed to bringing different tribes together to find the common ground of shared values, and above all, be open and inclusive about the diversity of political causes, crusades, and challenges that inspire and motivate us, and use that openness to reach out a new generation of non-tribal voters. We call it big tent conservatism. So somebody wrote a letter saying, You should vote. She's the first female defense secretary. She's patriotic, forward-thinking, believes in strong defense and security, goes hand in hand with compassion to the poorest and most vulnerable in society. Brexiteer, social justice campaigner, patriot pioneer, Penny, oh, Penny. Penny Mordaunt, is that what it is? Yes. Not less daunt, more daunt. Penny more daunting. Fundamentally, she's both a pragmatist and an optimist, recognizes if our country has a fault, then it's concentrating on the negative. We need a fresh start based on freedom, fairness, courage, and compassion, taking personal responsibility. Perhaps the Westminster pundits missed Penny Mordaunt to win the landmark 5th consecutive general election in 2024. We need that big tent. Tory reaching out to the voters across length and breadth of our land. Penny's the only one. She wrote the book Greater Britain After the Storm. After the Storm, Greater Britain. Great Britain, even Greater Britain. Frost said she wasn't fully accountable. She wasn't always visible. Sometimes I didn't even know where she was. Something about Frost. She did not work for Frost very good. That Frost, David Frost, a former Brexit minister, launched a scathing attack, saying she was surprised in the leadership because really, he had to fire her or something. Mordaunt's team responded that she had nothing but respect for Frost and that Penny will always stick up for Brexit and always will, always has and always will. Now, a prime minister needs to have more than just huge tits to be a good ruler. Donnie Crane. One poll suggested if she couldn't make it to the final two, if she could make it to the final two, she'd win and be the third prime minister, the third female prime minister behind Margaret Thatcher and Theresa May. In her favor, Penny Mordaunt has an attractive personality. She's fun. Sounds like a good sport. So when it comes to Boris Johnson, she looks the part. Now, does she have the right policies? Does she have the right ideas? She pitched herself as a Brexiteer who's going to return the party to its roots. She says that the Conservative Party has lost its sense of self. If I could compare it to being in a Glastonbury audience when Paul McCartney was playing his set, we indulged all those new tunes, but what we really wanted was the good old stuff that we all knew the words to. Penny Mordaunt said, describing the former Beatle who is now 80 years of old playing his new material at a youth concert when what most wanted to hear was the long and winding road and Get Back. Nobody wants to hear those songs. Let it be. 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 The tunes the Tories want to hear, Mordaunt said, include the words low tax, small state, personal responsibility. Nice. Low tax, just short and pithy. Low tax, small state, personal responsibility. She's funny. The British people, she's fun and funny. So, at its heart, there's two key Britain Beyond Brexit. She wrote a book, 2017. They had a big tent festival in Bristol, Coventry, digitally taking the message all over the place. The 80s is ancient history. The 80s is ancient history. So, who would I vote for? Not Penny Mordaunt. If I had to vote, I'd vote for that Liz Truss. Liz Truss doesn't look like the leader, doesn't look like that she's the lioness of the pack. But you need someone wise and smart, somebody smart and intelligent to hopefully, So, yeah, Liz Truss. Yeah, you got to vote for, England, you got to vote for Liz Truss. If you can't get, you just keep Boris Johnson. Why are you getting rid of, if you got to get rid of Boris Johnson, go with Liz Truss. Smart, librarian, intelligent, like Elizabeth Warren. Yeah, you got to go with Liz Truss.